By the time the first scream tore through Jaseong Tower, Mensah was already running in the wrong direction. Hundreds of people poured through the glass lobby toward the street. Executives abandoned briefcases. Security men pushed past receptionists. Two of Han Minho's bodyguards jumped into the first black vehicle they saw and left without him. Maya stood outside for one breath, her travel bag still hanging from her shoulder. Above her, a line of windows shivered across the 24th floor. Dust rolled behind the glass like smoke. Minho was still inside. She had every reason to keep walking. His empire had buried her mentor's report and stained her name. After the Jeju inspection, she planned to leave Korea and never speak to Han Minho again. Then part of the marble entrance cracked behind her. Maya dropped her bag, turned against the fleeing crowd, and ran straight back into the tower. "Don't go in!" a guard shouted. She did not slow down. The lobby floor tilted toward the west wall. Maya felt it through her shoes. Nearby elevator doors stood open, but the car had stopped several inches below the floor. That was the first clear warning. The second was the concrete dust pulsing from a joint above the security desk each time the building groaned. Maya grabbed the emergency radio from a fallen guard. "This is Mensah, structural audit lead. Shut down every elevator, clear the west stairwell, use the central core stairs only." A voice answered through static. "Ms. Mensah, security command has not authorized. The building is redistributing load. You can argue with me outside." She reached the emergency stair door just as another tremor ran under her feet. 6 weeks earlier, Jaseong Urban Group had hired Maya to complete an independent safety audit of its Seoul headquarters. Regulators had demanded an outside engineer after workers reported unexplained vibrations near the transfer floor. Most of the executives had treated her as a legal inconvenience. At her first meeting, a vice president had looked at her helmet, then at the service corridor. "Contractors enter through the rear." Maya had lifted her visitor badge. "Then show your chairman to the rear. He hired me." Han Minho had been standing behind the man. He was tall, controlled, and dressed in a black suit that made everyone around him seem too brightly colored. He did not apologize for the insult. He simply moved aside and opened the main conference room door for her. "Ms. Mensah enters where her authority requires," he said. That had been the first thing she respected about him. It had not been enough. Maya knew what stood behind Jaseong's polished public image. The group built towers, hotels, and industrial parks. Beneath those legal businesses, Minho's organization controlled demolition crews, forced subcontractors into protection agreements, and moved restricted building components through corrupt customs channels. 4 years earlier, Dr. Daniel Osei had traced uncertified structural parts to one of Jaseong's subsidiaries. Maya had helped him verify the calculations. Then Minho signed a confidential settlement. The report disappeared. Daniel lost his university position, and Maya's calculations were discredited. By the time they were quietly vindicated, Daniel was dead. Now she climbed toward the man who had helped bury him. At the 17th floor, the stair door jammed. Maya studied a thin diagonal crack running from its upper corner. It widened as she watched. The west side was dropping. She crossed to a service corridor and found a maintenance ladder leading into the mechanical level. The alarm lights were dark, but the air smelled of burned insulation. That was wrong. The emergency system should have lit even if the main power failed. Someone had silenced it. A man in a gray security jacket appeared at the far end. "Chairman Han is in the executive refuge corridor," he said. His face was pale. "The main stairs are blocked. Why are you leaving him?" The man looked toward the ceiling as dust fell between them. "I have a family." Then he ran past her. Maya understood. Fear had stripped his oath to its true value. She climbed through the maintenance level and reached the refuge corridor. The glass wall overlooking the atrium had fractured into a white web. Minho stood beside a damaged security console. Blood darkened one sleeve, but he was still trying to pull a metal case from a locked cabinet. Maya stared at him. "You came back for a box? It contains the operations ledger. The building is coming apart. If that ledger disappears, Park Jinwoo owns every man who just abandoned me." Jinwoo was Minho's operations chief and had managed Jaseong's construction network for 20 years. Maya crossed the corridor and kicked the cabinet shut. "You can take the box, or you can take your life. Not both." Minho's eyes narrowed. No one spoke to him like that while armed men stood ready to obey. But the armed men were gone. A low boom moved through the floor. The metal case slid away from the cabinet on its own. Minho looked at it, then at Maya. What do you need? Your weight behind that door. Slowly. Together they forced open a warped service door leading toward the concrete core. The nearest exit sign pointed left, down the shorter route. Minho moved toward it. Maya caught his wrist. No. That stairwell reaches the lobby. The landing is separating from the wall. He looked down the corridor. Nothing there seemed broken. How can you know that? Because the door frame is twisting clockwise, but the floor beneath us is dropping west. The stair is no longer moving with this section. Another groan rolled through the tower. Minho stopped arguing. They moved right. The passage narrowed around pipes and cabinets. Maya felt the vibration through one palm against the wall. Behind them, the left stairwell collapsed with a sound like a freight train. Minho looked back once. Then he followed exactly where Maya stepped. At the core access door, a fallen beam blocked the lower half of the opening. Minho braced himself beneath it. Go under. If it shifts, it crushes you. That is why you should move. Maya crouched, examined the beam, and shook her head. It is pinned at the other end. If you lift it, you free it. She pulled a steel maintenance bar from the wall rack and wedged it beneath a support bracket. Push the bracket toward me when I say, we are not lifting the beam, we are changing where it rests. Minho took position. For the first time, his survival depended on listening. Now. He pushed as Maya levered the bracket. The beam settled against the concrete curb, leaving enough space for them to crawl through. They reached the protected stairwell as the lights failed completely. Minho's breathing had become rough. Maya switched on her phone light and saw blood across his palm where the metal bracket had torn it. You are hurt. I can walk. That was not my question. He almost smiled, but the building shook again. They descended 3 floors before smoke blocked the stairs below. Maya tested the door to the 16th floor plant room. Warm, but not hot. She opened it. Fire had damaged a row of cable trays, but the main flames were out. The smoke was being pulled toward a broken ventilation shaft. Across the room, daylight flashed through a maintenance opening that led to an external service deck. Minho stared at the distance between them and the opening. Can the floor hold? For one person at a time, step where I step. He let her go first. Halfway across, a pipe tore loose above them. Minho caught Maya around the shoulders and pulled her beneath a concrete rib as the pipe crashed behind them. They pressed close in the narrow shelter, his arm shielding her head from debris. Maya pushed away first. That does not make us even. I did not know we were keeping count. We are. They reached the service deck. Firefighters below shouted and raised a ladder platform. Minho gestured for Maya to go first. She shook her head. You are bleeding. You came back for a man you hate. Do not pretend you will leave first now. The tower groaned behind them. Maya stepped onto the platform. Minho followed. As they descended, the west facade folded inward like thunder. People ducked behind emergency vehicles. Minho did not look at the building. He looked at the black cars disappearing at the end of the avenue. His bodyguards and partners were gone. Men who had sworn loyalty had chosen escape. Only Maya had run back. If Maya's choice surprised you, subscribe to Afro Korean Soulmates TV. At the ambulance, a medic wrapped Minho's hand while police officers tried to separate them for statements. Minho ignored the officers. Why did you come back? Maya met his eyes. I don't let people die, even people I hate. The answer hit him harder than gratitude would have. 3 hours later, investigators confirmed the central core had stopped the total collapse. The building remained unstable and sealed. At a command center across the street, Maya described the moving crack, failed alarms, and fire damage without guessing beyond the evidence. The fire may have weakened the transfer level, she said, but I cannot call this sabotage until we recover records and physical evidence. A Jaseong executive interrupted. You were responsible for the structural audit. Maya turned toward him. I was responsible for reporting what I could access. Your operations office denied me entry to the mechanical level 3 times. That is not documented. Minho, seated behind her with his injured hand bandaged, spoke quietly. It will be. Every person in the room stopped moving. He looked at Maya. Tell them what you require. Original sensor files, unedited security logs, procurement records for the transfer floor, and no Jaseong employee touching the evidence. The executive laughed once. She is an outside engineer. Minho's face became still. Today, she was the most important person in that building. The room went silent. Maya felt no triumph. Only the weight of Daniel's missing report and the certainty that powerful men praise truth most easily when truth had just saved them. A police commander advised Minho not to return to any known residence. Several of his security routes were compromised. The private jet intended for the Jeju inspection was still waiting at Gimpo Airport. Maya had planned to inspect the resort, submit her report, and spend 3 quiet days near the sea. Now the tower was closed, the inspection was cancelled, and Minho had no secure place in Seoul. She should have refused to board. Instead, she needed Jeju's isolated backup server, which might hold the original alarm records. The jet lifted with Maya, Minho, 2 pilots, and a medic behind the rear door. No guards, no executives, no men waiting for Minho to speak first. For 20 minutes, neither of them said anything. Maya sat across the cabin with an emergency blanket around her shoulders. Minho noticed her shivering and adjusted the temperature without comment. His bandage had begun to stain red. "Give me your hand," she said. The medic checked it. "The medic is not here." He held it out. Maya replaced the loosened bandage from the first aid drawer. Minho watched her fingers. "Daniel Osei was more than your mentor. In my family in Kumasi, a good name is treated like an inheritance. Daniel lost his protecting mine." She looked down at Minho's hand. "He was the first person who looked at my calculations before he looked at me." Minho understood what she meant. "Other people saw a young black woman in a hard hat," Maya continued. "Daniel saw an engineer. After your company attacked him, he apologized as if truth were his mistake." Minho looked toward the dark window. "I signed the settlement. I know. I told myself I was protecting thousands of workers. Jinwoo said the materials had been replaced and no one was in danger. And you believed what allowed you to keep your empire." "Yes." The answer was quiet. It contained no defense. Maya tightened the clean bandage. "That is not an apology." "No." "Then do not offer it as one." He accepted that too. The cabin light moved across his face as the aircraft turned south. "Why did you hire me?" she asked. "Because every engineer recommended by my board had once taken money from Jaseong. And you thought I could not be bought? I knew you could not. It was not romance. It was the first honest respect between them." At the Jeju resort, Maya refused Minho's offer of a guarded villa and chose a staff apartment near the engineering office. He did not overrule her. By morning, she had recovered the remote sensor mirror. One file was missing, 7 minutes of data before the fire alarm should have activated. The security access record showed Maya's audit card entering the transfer level during that same period. She stared at the screen. "I was in the lobby." Minho stood behind her, far enough away not to crowd her. "Can you prove it?" "My phone location, lobby cameras, witnesses." Jinwoo controls the camera archive and 3 of the witnesses. Maya turned. "You think he did this?" "I think he was the only man who knew where the ledger was stored, which alarms could be isolated, and which guards would leave me." "That is an inference." A faint expression crossed Minho's face. "You have trained me well." "Then finish the lesson. What can we prove?" They could prove the access record had been altered. Its internal clock drifted by 11 seconds from the remote sensor mirror. They could not yet prove who altered it. The surviving data showed the West transfer connection weakening hours before the fire. Someone had damaged it, then used heat and load to hide the timing. Jinwoo had not simply wanted the tower damaged, he had wanted investigators to blame the engineer who had been warning everyone about it. Maya should have told Minho about another discrepancy she had seen the previous week, an unauthorized vibration test recorded after midnight. Instead, she had been trying to verify it alone. She had not trusted him with anything connected to Daniel. Now the missing record had vanished from the main system. Her distrust had given Jinwoo time. "I made a mistake," she said. Minho waited. "There was an abnormal test last Thursday. I kept it from you while I searched for a second source." "Why?" "Because your signature was on Daniel's settlement. Because I believed anything I gave you could disappear." That belief was earned. It was still the wrong decision. Minho did not use her confession against her. "Then we recover the second source." "Would you trust Minho with the evidence after what he did to Daniel?" The source was a mechanical supervisor named Lee Sung, one of the few tower employees who stored handwritten maintenance notes after repeated system failures. He had photographed the midnight test order before the collapse. The order carried Park Jin-woo's authorization code. Maya and Minho arranged for Lee to meet an independent investigator at a ferry terminal, away from Jaseong property. Before the meeting, the police issued a notice naming Maya as a person of interest. Jin-woo had released the altered access logs. Resort televisions showed Maya beside footage of the collapse. Commentators asked why the foreign audit engineer had entered the damaged level beforehand. Staff members who had smiled at her the night before stepped away. Maya watched the screen without blinking. Minho picked up his phone. "What are you doing?" "Ending it." "With what?" "The ledger. You said the ledger could destroy your organization. It can authenticate the security payments, access codes, and Jin-woo's control of the mechanical crews. It can also send you to prison." "Yes." Maya stepped between him and the door. "You do not get to rescue me by making another secret decision." His expression hardened, but not at her. "What do you propose?" "We release only what investigators need to preserve Lee and the evidence. Then you surrender the full ledger through counsel in public, where Jin-woo cannot make it disappear." "You are still willing to work with me?" "I am willing to stop him from killing another person." Together, they built the release. Maya's timeline showed damage before her card supposedly entered. Lee's photograph carried Jin-woo's authorization, and Minho's records tied the Midnight Crew to his budget. Jin-woo responded by ordering the district captains to remove Minho from command before the evidence reached Seoul. Minho could have summoned loyal crews and turned Jeju into a battlefield. Instead, he called the captains on an open line recorded by investigators. "I will not ask you to choose me," he said. "I am giving the ledger to prosecutors. Anyone who follows Jin-woo after tonight follows him knowing what he did." Jin-woo's voice cut across the line. "You would destroy every family we fed for an engineer who despises you." Minho looked at Maya. "No. I am destroying the lie that feeding them gave us the right to bury innocent people." The line went dead. Lee reached the ferry terminal safely. Investigators secured his phone and notes. But when Maya reviewed the final evidence packet, she found the complete settlement from 4 years earlier. Minho had not merely approved a general confidentiality agreement. He had signed the page that named Daniel Osei personally and described Maya's calculations as professionally unreliable. On the jet, he had admitted signing the settlement. He had not admitted how directly he had approved the attack on their names. Maya carried the document to the resort terrace. Minho was waiting beside the dark pool. "You knew exactly what they said about us." "Yes." "You let me believe Jin-woo wrote the entire attack." "He did write it." "And you signed it." "Yes." "Why did you not tell me on the plane?" "Because for the first time, you were speaking to me as if I were human." Maya's eyes burned. "So you protected that moment with another omission?" Minho lowered his head. "Yes." She placed the document on the table between them. "You are not ready for forgiveness." "I know. And I cannot investigate beside a man who tells the truth in pieces." She left Jeju before sunrise. For the next 2 weeks, Maya worked from an independent engineering office in Seoul. She reconstructed the failure with investigators and refused every message Minho sent unless it contained evidence. He respected the boundary. Then Park Jin-woo made his final move. He announced an internal command vote and offered prosecutors a false witness who claimed Maya had ordered the midnight vibration test. If the lie held long enough, Jin-woo would remove Minho, control the remaining records, and turn Maya into the public cause of the collapse. Maya did not wait to be saved. She found the weakness herself. The false witness described the test as beginning at 12:40 in the morning. But Lee's photograph showed the order pinned beneath a maintenance clock that had stopped during a power interruption at 12:17. The witness could not have received Maya's supposed instruction at the time he claimed because the service lift was locked between floors until 1:05. It proved the story was constructed later. What Maya lacked was the original lift control archive. Jin-woo's men controlled it. Minho had one copy. Obtaining it meant exposing a hidden backup system used by Jaseong to track illegal crews. Minho delivered the entire server to investigators. He did not ask for immunity. At the public hearing, the chamber was crowded with workers, journalists, engineers, prosecutors, and Jaseong executives. The same vice president who had once directed Maya toward the service entrance tried to sit at the evidence table. The hearing chair stopped him. That seat belongs to the independent structural lead. Every camera turned as Maya walked to the center. She wore no Jaseong badge. Her name stood alone before her. For 40 minutes, she explained the collapse in language ordinary people could understand. The tower had not failed because of one mysterious explosion or one careless engineer. A damaged connection had weakened the transfer floor. The disabled alarms delayed evacuation. The fire forced loads into parts of the structure never intended to carry them. One decision had opened the door to the next. Then Maya presented the altered access record, the stopped clock, the lift archive, and Jinwoo's authorization. Park Jinwoo was arrested before the hearing ended. There was no gunfight, no dramatic escape, and no second mastermind waiting behind him. His own system proved what he had done. When the room settled, Minho asked to speak. He stood without lawyers beside him. "My evidence against Park Jinwoo does not make me innocent." Maya looked up. 4 years earlier, he said, Dr. Daniel Osei and Maya Mensah had submitted accurate findings about unsafe materials connected to Jaseong's construction network. Minho had approved an agreement suppressing that report. He had allowed Daniel's reputation to be destroyed and Maya's work to be discredited because public truth threatened his organization. "I chose control over accountability," he said. "The harm belongs to me." He announced that Jaseong's original records had been surrendered to prosecutors. He resigned from the construction division. Assets connected to the illegal network would fund an independently governed structural safety trust in Daniel's name. Then he looked at Maya. "I am not asking her to forgive me. I am correcting what I had no right to take." For the first time, Maya believed his apology because it cost him something before it offered him anything. 6 weeks after the collapse, the surviving portion of Jaseong Tower was approved for controlled dismantling. Maya's name was cleared. Daniel's report was restored to the public record. The Daniel Osei Structural Safety Trust selected Maya as its independent chair. Minho remained under investigation, but he was no longer hiding behind his office or his men. Maya completed her work in Seoul and booked a flight home. The night before she was due to leave, she found one final message from him. The original Jeju itinerary was attached. No request, no explanation, just the inspection route they had never completed, the small seaside hotel Maya had booked for herself, and 3 days marked personal leave. She stared at it for a long time. Then she changed her flight. Jeju was bright when they returned. This time there was no emergency convoy. No guards waited beside the road. Minho carried his own bag. Maya laughed when he struggled with the cheap rental car's navigation system, and he looked almost offended that she found him funny. They visited the closed resort site, not as chairman and auditor, but to watch workers remove the Jaseong sign. Afterward, they walked along a black volcanic beach where the sea struck the rocks in slow white lines. Minho stopped. "I do not know what happens to me when the investigation ends. Neither do I. I cannot promise you an empire. I never wanted one. I know." That was why she had come. He had finally learned not to offer her power, protection, or a beautiful prison. He offered only the truth, including the parts that weakened him. Maya stepped closer. "I am not here because the past disappeared." Minho's voice was low. "Why are you here? Because you finally faced it." She touched his bandaged hand, though the wound beneath it had nearly healed. Their first kiss was gentle and late, with no audience and nothing left to bargain. When they separated, Minho rested his forehead against hers. For one safe moment, there was no tower, no ledger, no hearing, and no one coming through the door. The following morning, his phone vibrated on the hotel table. Minho read the message once and handed it to Maya. The Jaseong captains had removed him as chairman. His command accounts were frozen. Every protection his position had given him was gone. He watched her face, waiting for the moment she understood what being beside him might now cost. Maya set the phone down. "Then whatever comes next," she said, "we build it without them." Beyond the window, the sea was turning gold. Minho looked toward it, then back at the woman who had once run into a collapsing tower for a man she hated. This time, when the ground beneath his life shifted, she did not run toward him or away from him. She stood beside him. Subscribe to Afro Korean Soulmates TV for the continuation.